honor duty for the state of Florida. Karen is employed by Arbors Harris Ortega in Jacksonville, Florida, a Tifa Snow-inspired assisted living community for memory loss. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Dale. Thank everybody for being here. Who's here taking care of somebody that suffers from Alzheimer's or dementia? All right. Well, as you know, those behaviors can be very challenging. The disease itself is very challenging. But when I was asked to speak here today on coping with challenging behaviors, in my own mind, I had to break that down. So let's look at the definition of what each of those things are. A behavior, it's a noun. It's the way a person acts in response to a situation or a stimulus. Who in here has behaviors? How do you react to your stimulus and your situations? You do it differently depending on how you're feeling right then, right? All right, definition of behavior. We all have them. Coping. Coping. Definition. To face or deal with responsibilities, problems, or difficulties in a calm and adequate manner. Okay. Now the third word in my title, challenging. To challenge is to test one's ability. So, what I want you to do as caregivers is to introspect. What causes your behaviors? How do you cope? And how do you challenge yourself to act responsibly in the light of those challenging times? Because it's up to you to do the coping. Because guess what? The person with dementia cannot. It takes two to tango, but it also takes two to tangle. All right? So, having said that, being right doesn't necessarily translate into a good outcome. You can be right about what your expectations are, but are your expectations realistic when dealing with somebody that can't make a choice, that can't make their decision, whose brain is affected by dementia? It's critical to the relationship that you have. The relationship with the person you're caring for is much more important than the outcome, because you're not going to get the outcome if you don't have the relationship. How do you build a relationship? Communicate. Know the person that you're working with. Do they need to know you? Yes. Do you absolutely need to know them? Yes. As part of the disease, people with dementia tend to develop typical patterns of speech, behavior, and routines. Depending on where they are in their dementia, can depend on how they're able to work in their world. You have to enter their world now. They can't enter yours. So these people are also going to have, they're still going to have skills and abilities, but a lot of their ability to communicate their skills is gone. So it's up to you to know them and know what they could do before the dementia started working their brain. So, normal changes is me. Right now I'm a nervous wreck, shaking, got my cue cards. These are my points that I need to make. My visual cues, all right? I'm normal. I don't think I have been diagnosed with anything other than nerves. I'm a little bit more forgetful, and I'm a little bit slower to learn new things, but I can do it. But I still like my routines, and I really don't like anybody to mess with them. Everybody about my age, you got your routine. You got your ways things that, and if something puts a roadblock on it, guess what you become? You get a behavior, don't you? All right? You yourself get a behavior. This is a challenge for other people to cope with. We have mild cognitive impairment, which is not dementia. Mild cognitive impairment could be a delirium because of an illness. It could be depression. It could be something that's only going to last for a short period of time. Mild cognitive impairment usually only lasts a short period of time. It's not terminal. It can either be treated with, if it's an infection or a delirium, or if it's a depressed state. If you're in depression, you can usually treat it, and it's not a long-term situation. Then we have dementia. Somebody give me what they think is the definition of dementia. Anybody in here want to leap up on here with me and give me a definition of dementia? Yes, ma'am.
Brain deterioration.
Very good. Brain deterioration. Yes, ma'am.
Impaired short-term memory.
Short-term memory impairment. Who can tell me what heart failure is?
Your heart isn't working right.
It's dying, isn't it? It's failing.
It's
How
a
about
di-
kidney failure?
It's a disease.
Your kidneys are dying. Dementia is brain failure. All right, it's not pretty, but it's true. At least 2 parts of the brain are dying, and it's progressive, it's terminal, and complications of it will kill you. It's hard, but it's fast and it's true. So, what's under dementia? It's a big umbrella. All right, dementia is a big umbrella of about 87 diseases that affect the mind, the brain, and parts of the brain are affected differently with a different type of dementia. Most of us are familiar with Alzheimer's, which is a very predictable pattern dementia. We've studied it a lot, and it's pretty predictable in how it progresses. Vascular dementia is vascular dementia is usually due to a stroke or a certain part of the brain. It can also be a kind of a Jekyll and Hyde type of a dementia. Lewy body is also very, very common. It likes to partner or mimic Parkinson's, and they have a lot of hallucinations, a lot of paranoia, a lot of fear. Don't leave me where you're going. Oh, help me. You know, a lot of paranoia and fear. And then your frontal temporal lobe dementias are where you have a lot of the behaviors. And we're going to go over briefly why that is. I'm not going to teach you a whole big thing, but I'm going to give you some visuals that are going to help you see why that frontal lobe, temporal lobe dementia is so important. So, Alzheimer's, they lose their information first. The recent memories are worse. They have problem finding words. They misspeak. All right? The flower yellow is pretty in the yard. All right? It's just a confusion of how they're putting things, where they're finding their words. More impulsive and indecisive, they get lost very easily. And they notice changes are pretty quick. You can see those changes between 6 months and a year. Vascular, judgment behavior, spotty losses. I'm not going to go through all of these. That's not what we're here for. Dementia is both a chemical change in the brain and a structural change in the brain. So sometimes they can, and sometimes they can't. Because they could yesterday, you can't expect them to do it today. Because they couldn't do it yesterday, you can't assume that they can't do it today. It's all about the relationship. It's all about giving them the ability to do what they can with what they have left. And it's up to us to set the right environment and give them the right care so that they can do that. All right, this is a normal PET scan, just one of your visuals. This is a 20-year-old and an 80-year-old, both without dementia. They look very similar, don't they? Actually, they're pretty much the same. Back here, this is the occipital lobe. let's look at what this looks like as we get dementia. Normal brain, everything red is fired, it's eating glucose, it's moving, it's shaking, it's keeping your body alive. This part, whoops, sorry. So let's look at the normal brain. This is the occipital lobe, this is the frontal lobe. Looking backwards at the other angle, this is the frontal lobe, this is the occipital lobe. All right, so let's get to early childhood education. Miss Feet.
Good matching.
Yeah. Early Alzheimer's, early onset. Now remember, people aren't diagnosed until they're about 10 years into their disease. So look at the changes right now in early Alzheimer's. All right. Here's our occipital lobe. Still lit up pretty good, right? We can still, our occipital lobe still works. But what's missing in between it? A whole lot of tissue in there. Now that frontal lobe, I want everybody to put their hand right here because this is primary, because this takes effect of us as normal aging people as well. Our frontal lobe is our executive center, all right? It makes you be who you want to be. It makes you make good choices. It makes you think of things all the way through to make a good choice. It allows you to not say what you think sometimes. You look real pretty today, honey. Okay? It allows you to say, you look nice, instead of what you really think. All right? It allows you to look at your husband at the end of the day when he comes home and says, "Where's dinner?" Going, "I'm just about to start it, darling." Okay? And it's also, what most very important, is your ability to see things from somebody else's perspective. Some people never get that. All right. One of the last parts of the brain to develop, one of the first ones that we lose. All right? So, keeping that in mind, right behind the amygdala, right behind the front is the amygdala. Two pieces. This is your primal life. All right? The left amygdala is fight, flight, or fright. Yeah. It'll shut down everything else in your body. Okay? This is your right amygdala. This is your I want it, I need it, I gotta have it. And nothing you can do is going to stop me from getting it. Now this pushes at that frontal lobe all the time. Okay? Your survival mode and your I want it mode versus the I need it mode is constantly pushing at this frontal lobe. So what happens when that frontal lobe starts going away? Those impulses that you used to be able to think about and control are gone. So instead of going to church and seeing somebody in a pretty red dress, you look at them and say, "I didn't know they let whores in church." Sorry. But what that person was thinking when they had their frontal lobe is now seeing this red dress, and all they're seeing is this. So put up your binocular vision for me. Go ahead, do like this. Now I'm going to walk up to you in a pretty red dress that's strapless, and what do you see? So what they saw was what they were able to capture. All right? So they're responding to holy Is that a behavior, or is that just them trying to make sense of what their brain can take in?
Making sense of what the brain can take.
Are they wrong?
No.
Are you embarrassed?
Yes.
No.
Are you going to go, "Oh, mother, for God's sake"? But what you do is you say, "I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry. It's okay. we're seeing people in our ALFs. Used to be skilled nursing, is now an ALF, assisted living facility. Look at how much of us is still burning. Not much. Another very important part of the brain that I want you to listen to so we can get into behaviors. The last part I'm going to tell you about is this right and left temporal lobe. So, one more little exercise. Frontal lobe, executive control center, right? Keeps those impulses from being shown out. Now, I got to do this way because I don't have my wedding ring on. Language on the left. With me.
Language on the left.
And rhythm on the right.
Language on the left and rhythm on the right.
You lose it on the left, you retain it on the right. So what does that mean? This is the left temporal lobe. The right, sorry. This is the right on the body scan. This is the right temporal lobe. What are we keeping?
The rhythm.
Rhythm, poetry, song, forbidden words. You stupid.
Oh, no.
You're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing.
Now you're
You
talking.
better watch it now.
Now
Don't you
you're
go
talking.
there with me.
That's it.
All right?
Get your,
You big
with your
fat
behind
lie
out the way.
face. All right? The words that you never thought mother would ever say, or even knew what they meant, are there. And they're what's available. So they're trying to communicate with what they've got. What is missing?
The left.
Language.
Language.
The ability to comprehend language, to produce language, to understand what you're saying, to even produce it, because their fine motor skills are going away. You know, Tracy, the thing that's I'm supposed to be doing today,
The presentation.
yeah, but you know that stupid,
The camera. The video
yeah,
camera.
the camera. Thanks for reminding me there's a camera there. All right, you lose those words. You can find them if you have a full brain, right? But the wiring is gone with dementia. Now look here. What do we got? We got the amygdala. Look at that. Got the impulses, don't you?
Yeah.
No frontal.
No problem.
No frontal. You still got vision, but is any information from your eyes getting back to the brain? You're seeing things, but you're not understanding what it is you're seeing. You're hearing things, but you're not understanding what it is you're hearing. You're feeling things, but you don't know how to tell people how you feel.
Why couldn't you got an answer for everything?
I beg your pardon?
Why you got an answer for everything?
I don't. I'm a student. We're all students. Why do people with dementia have an answer for everything? Because they want to be successful. They want to be heard. They want to say, I'm okay, look at me. I can still be somebody. I might not be who you remember, but I'm still somebody. And I still deserve you to treat me with dignity and respect and slow down. If I don't see you, first, most important part of our society is what you can see. Next is what you can hear. Third is your touch. And I'm telling you right now, that's my TPism of the day. If you don't let her see you or hear you before you touch them, that's what you're going to get. So, slow down. Words don't mean much anymore.
Amen.
Okay? Gestures. Your face. And don't get louder. I digress. Don't get louder. Because right here, this is your hearing Mother, 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 ha! Did you hear me? What did I just do?
He yelled at her.
Did I yell at you? Did my face change? What am I seeing now? I'm angry. What did I do? Why are you angry at me? Or get out of my face. So the hearing center is not going to be effective. What you need to do is quit using so many damn words. All right? And start working with them and do with them, not to them. So, just really quick again. Just a view. The red is the sensory motor strip. Look at all the connections in the healthy brain. Look at all that white matter. Those are all the pathways. The gray matter, what we call gray matter, is all body cabinets. Look how well connected it all is. Everything's connected, isn't it?
Yep.
Ooh. Mid-stage. This is mid-stage.
Mid-stage.
Mid-stage. Now look over here. This is your right temporal lobe. You still have automatic change. See, it's still got some health in it. See, it's still got a little bit of health in it. You still got that rhythm. You still got that music. You still have those ugly words. But look over here at language. It's almost all gone. 1/3 the size. This is a band, 2 men, 65 years old, about 6'2", each one of them. Both of them weighed about 185 pounds. One died a normal death with no dementia. The other one died with dementia. About 1/3 of the size. What absolutely sticks out to you with that? It's 1/3 smaller. What color? It's dark. It's got many, many deep holes in it, doesn't it? Look at the healthy one. It's plump and shiny. All right. So, the brain actually shrinks. The cells wither and die, and the abilities are lost. But what's still there is them, their experience, their life, and they deserve to be treated with the dignity and respect that their life has given them. And we just have to find a way to get to it. So, I want to talk about behaviors. Dale, I might need you. The little behavior thing. So does that kind of put just some perspective on why behaviors are how we respond to our situation and our stimulus? How we respond to the same things are not the way they're going to respond because they have limited capacity to make sense of it. So they're going to display what we call behaviors. And the challenge is for us to be able to cope with that, with knowledge, understanding, and respect. Now, very quickly, who's had children in here? Who's had children? All right, 5 basic needs, physical needs. Food and drink. Sleep, wake patterns.
Change it, Doc.
Elimination. Y'all go right ahead of me. Uncomfortable. Huh? Keep getting the left there, right there, back, right there.
Social love.
Exactly. Comfort. All right. I'm either hungry, thirsty. I'm either tired. I'm gotta go poop, or I just would poop. I'm uncomfortable with something physically or psychologically in my environment, or I'm in pain, either physically or psychologically. All right? 5 basic human needs. Physical. Now, our emotional needs pretty much are our manifestations of our physical needs. All right? So when a baby cries, what's the first thing you do?
Take them out. Take them out.
See? Check diaper, see if they're comfortable, see if they're in pain. And it's going to cause one of 5 reactions. They're going to be angry, they're going to get sad, they're going to get lonely, they're going to be scared, or they're just going to be bored. All right? So those are our challenges. We need to meet both needs, both physical and the emotional needs. These are the most common issues that we come up with people with mild cognitive impairment and dementia. They won't go to the doctor anymore. They're losing important things. They're getting lost. They're unsafe in what they're doing. They repeat. What time is it? What time am I supposed to go do my presentation? Tracy, what time am I supposed to go on today?
I told you earlier,
I don't care what you told me earlier. What time is it now?
1 o'clock,
Okay, what time am I supposed to go up on stage?
1:45.
Okay, so at what time is it now?
It's 1 o'clock,
Okay, and I go on at 1:45.
1:45.
Okay, and what am I doing?
You're doing a presentation
Okay, okay. At what time? At 1:45?
at 1:45.
Okay, and it's 1 o'clock now?
Yes.
Okay. Trying so hard, okay? But you've got to help me. You've got to help me through it. And her getting mad at me. I told you, Karen, 5 times. Answer the question one more time. How many times does the baby drop the ball on the floor just to see you pick it up? Until they learn the pattern of their it is. They're not going to get it. Bad-mouthing others. I hear it all the time. How many times have you heard your person that you're caring for just say things that are just absolutely cruel? They're hurting somewhere. They have an unmet need somewhere. We do it ourselves. This morning on the highway, getting here by 8:30, I lost my frontal lobe, and all of my bad words came flowing out of my mouth. All right, but the difference between me and someone with dementia is I was able to what? Recover. All right. So these are just some of the things. So time's short, we're tired. The biggest mistake that we make as caregivers is judging behavior as something challenging or problematic. And the behavior is most often perpetrated by something we did or didn't do or approached wrong. Most often we're the cause of the behaviors because of our approach. Sir, come on. It's time for you to go to the bathroom. Let's go. Come on. We got to hurry up. We got to go get something to eat. Oh, boy, you're easy. Okay.
No dementia there.
No dementia there. He's just ready to go with me. All right? So, okay, you can have a seat. My approach was wrong with him. All right? But he was compliant. Thank you, sir, very much. What he heard was, with dementia, hang on, come on, stay here. You need help with me, going. No. No. Sir. What? Okay. Approach. Very good. Thank you for being with dementia. All right. So my approach was wrong. I caused his behavior. What if I came right up to you and went, and you didn't like me? What could you do right now? Did he see me? Did he hear me? I was in touching range. A lot of things that we want to do, we have to do in private areas, personal space, and the behaviors that we're getting is because we're not approaching them right. So it's all about how we respond to what's happening. It's not up to them to respond. All right? They're reactive. They're doing the best they can with what they've got left. So choose what you do. Choose what you do. Think about it. Use your frontal lobe. Use your big brain to find out how you can get them to be successful in what you want them to do. And first and foremost, this is the most difficult job that anybody could possibly have. Have a partner. Take a time out. Because I'm telling you, 8 hours just 8 hours with somebody with mid to late stage dementia will put you in a demented state. How many times at the end of your day can you not put a sentence together? How many times during the day, at the end of the day, are you driving home and you're going, and get home and don't know how you got there?
Yeah.
That's that hippocampus that's saying, I don't know where I am in time and space because my brain is too tired. I can't do this anymore. You know why? Linda and several people touched on how young good caregivers die. We're frying our own brains to try to make them successful with theirs. So you must have a partner. You've got to allow yourself time out. You have to give yourself that much credit for what you're doing, because if you're doing it when your behaviors are compromised by the stress in your life, you are not giving them the quality of life that you're here to do as a caregiver. Yes, Tracy?
No, 5. Just
5?
kidding.
Okay. So, there's a quick little handout that's up here. I'm going to go over real quick what it is. And what this is just a roadmap. It's a roadmap about a behavior, because that's what I was here to talk about. Is this a problem behavior that needs to be fixed? And you can just follow it down. First thing is, does this behavior put you or someone at risk? If it doesn't put you at risk, and only bad behavior can only be held on to for 20 minutes, because the brain burns up glucose so fast that you can only hold on to that conniption fit for about 20 minutes, and then it's going to go away. So if it's not going to cause risk, if it's not going to cause pain or hurt, leave it alone. Walk away. Be there to watch to make sure it doesn't become a risk. But it's not really a problem behavior to the person that has the dementia. It's a problem to who? You. So walk away from it. Go, so what? They're not hurting anybody. It'll be over in a few minutes, and then we can move on with what we were trying to do. Let it go, leave it alone, and don't sweat the small stuff. Pick your battles. If it's something that does cause a risk, then yes, you need to find out what the problem is. Because probably it's something that has to do with the time of day. When does it happen? Where does it happen? Who's involved in it? How did it start? How long did it last? Was something said or done? So you're the detective here. You're going to evaluate what this prompted this, and then you're going to answer your question. All right? You need to just slow down, take a look at what happened, step back. 3 things I want you to remember that it's okay to say, and I want you to say it out loud. I'm sorry. I was just trying to help.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I
I was just trying to help.
help.
2, I'm sorry I made you angry.
I'm sorry I made you angry.
I'm sorry I embarrassed you.
I'm sorry I embarrassed you.
I'm sorry I made you feel like a child.
I'm sorry I made you feel like a child.
Does that make you feel better? Think about how it makes them feel. Because that's not what your goal was it? And finally, the most powerful one is, I'm sorry. This is so hard. I'm sorry that this is so hard. It's hard. It's hard on you, and it's hard on them. So you got to give each other a break. If you want to love them this much, you got to learn to spend about this much time with them. Because if you spend this much time with them, you're only going to be able to love them this much. So give yourself a break. Take a look at the behavior. If it doesn't hurt anything, let it go. If it does, apologize, find out what perpetrated it, come up with a solution, and if that solution doesn't happen, go back and try something else. because if they're not at risk for themselves or others, they're just having an unmet need, and it's your job to find out what it is. I'm done. Any questions? Any questions? Anything? Yes, ma'am.
This is not a question, but the movie Still Alice.
Oh, amazing. Read the book if you thought the movie was good, because it actually lets you into the mind of Alice, not what other people saw, but what was in her mind. Amazing documentary. It's not a documentary, but it is a documentary of what somebody with Alzheimer's may be experiencing. Still Alice. Yes, ma'am. Sundowners.
Okay, well, so we go to church on Wednesday nights, and we still do things in the evening, but I've noticed that it's just, we go, and she just is miserable, she's mean to everybody, but she refuses to not go. And then she gets mad at me when I interrupt, but she really experiences that.
Well, can you find a way to an alternate instead of taking her to dinner? Could you come get her at breakfast?
Well, we go to church on Sunday morning, and she doesn't want to go Wednesday night.
Okay.
It's not what we do, and her down, so bad, and some goes down, I thought that was just a myth, but
No.
I experienced it firsthand.
No, Sundiners is awful. It's awful. It's the brain that it's overload. Is what it is. It's overload. And probably the best
I
thing.
don't care about not picking her up, because she can have her take her, or I can watch her do this when everybody is there.
Well, how long is she going to be mad at you? Till next Wednesday?
Yes.
Well, she'll be okay Sunday though when you come pick her up. So relieve yourself. I can't tell you your family dynamic, but my suggestion would be she'll get over not going on Wednesday night, and it's going to spare you. It's going to spare her, and she in her own mind is aware that she's not capable of handling this. And even if she isn't capable, why put her through it? Why put yourself through it? There's also a little card, TipaSnow.com. I highly recommend TipaSnow.com if you want to learn about dementia. Amazing, amazing, amazing woman. Teepa, T-E-E-P-A, Snow, S-N-O-W. TipaSnow.com. Yes, ma'am.
I had a question about this morning, and this is something that you've dealt with before. My mom has Alzheimer's Lewy body, but she has this thing where she'll go somewhere and she swears that she's seen these people before. Not only has she seen them, she has this whole backstory of what they're doing there.
Yes, that's very, very common. Very common. It's a hallucination. And it's also her way of saying, I'm okay in where I'm at. I know you. Of course I know. Of course we've met. How many times have we known each other? You've been a neighbor of mine for 20 years. Yeah, absolutely.
But I
So-
do wish we had time to go into vascular.
I know. Well, I'm telling you, Tifa Snow has little snippets on YouTube all over the place. If you want to look up something specific about a specific Lewy body, she has a Lewy body specific.
Karen, tell them about the virtual dementia tour.
Yes. One of the things that we do at Arbor Terrace, and we are an assisted living community specializing in dementia, but we want the community educated about what dementia is, and we host the Second Wind Dreams virtual dementia tour once a quarter, and we're having one on Tuesday. Tracy Underwood right here would be a wonderful resource to find out more if you want to get on the mailing list for when we have the virtual dementia tour. It gives you 8 minutes in their shoes. It's the most profound 8 minutes you'll ever experience if you've ever dealt with being around somebody with dementia, because it is your opportunity to spend 8 minutes in what they spend 24 hours a day, 365 days a year in. So Arbor Terrace, Ortega, or any of the Arbor Terraces, we have one in Ponte Vedra and one coming up in San Jose. We will all be hosted the virtual dementia tour, so there shouldn't be an area of town that you won't be able to attend one of them. That's us. That's me. That's us. Yes, that's us. So we're having one Tuesday, but always look for your virtual dementia tour. Make sure it's through Second Wind Dreams. Don't go to the old fabricated ones because it's not how it was designed to be done. Second Wind Dreams Virtual Dementia Tour.
Karen, did you say that Alzheimer's in the early stages could be going on for 10 years before it's diagnosed?
Yes, ma'am. Mostly because they have such good coping skills. They have family around them that cope for them. What is coping? Dealing with a situation in an adequate way. So I'm going to help them cope. I'm going to help them be presentable. I'm going to help them be successful. They're going to be able to be with me, or I'm going to be able to fake my way through it. Because I can answer questions. I have social chit chat. Oh, I know, honey, that was so much fun. I had no idea what you're talking about. But sure, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, up to 10 years. Because they have a community around them, a family around them, or coping skills that they've learned throughout their lives. Women are excellent at it. Yes.
I know you did that. I had a similar thing with my mother. So I used to say to her, "Are you okay?" My dad said, "Oh no, or your mother's mind gets a little confused once in a while." You say it.
Senile. Old timers.
And when they told me that this is Charles, question that covered, and that's my doctor was told that she had the dementia that's stroke. So we
Vascular.
vascular. So we see what about the neurologist telling us he can't diagnose it with dementia. He is prescribing now medication to help level off and testing he has
Okay, well, they're going to have to find a baseline. Medication only takes care of behaviors and can only plateau something. If 2 parts of the brain are dying or have shown death, then you're going into a dementia. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Mhm. It depends on the environment. Remember I said, given the right environment and the right care, she could stay at a certain stage level, but just so you know,
I just don't know how long it's, how quickly it's gonna.
it can move very quickly if something happens.
She's moderate and severe now from her last time. So something could trigger.
Something could trigger. She could get the flu. She could get.
Stroke like 4 months ago, she didn't even know it. She was only on, we had no idea she had stroke.
The body doesn't recognize it anymore. So usually what's going to happen, most of the time, and I'm not a doctor, but in experience, something is going to happen that's going to trigger the onset to move forward. It's moving forward now, but she's still.
Last month, but she still lives on her own. But I don't know if like I'm gonna wake up one day and she's gonna be not being able to do anything. I don't know.
I can't diagnose that. I just know that it's progressive. It's going to get worse. So just prepare yourself for it.
Alzheimer's for 10 years, you're like, wow, that's a long time. And she's still driving?
Maybe that's the person that was on the road this morning. Yes, ma'am.
Dementia, do they necessarily have to go full blown, become Alzheimer's,
It
Am
will-
I making sense?
You are, yes, it's going to progress, and so a complication of the dementia is going to be probably the terminal part of their life. Either they're going to get an infection that their brain doesn't recognize that they have, so they don't have a fever.
Huh?
A lot of them die of pneumonia. Because the brain doesn't have the power to tell the white blood cells to go to the exact area and make the temperature go up anymore.
Oh, okay.
So, but usually with the early on an illness,
Yeah,
it can get a slight UTI today,
yeah.
can be a raging UTI to where they have to have intravenous antibiotics in 10 days, but the body's not symptomatic. What is symptomatic is the change in their behavior. Delirium, the change in behavior. I don't want to keep everybody, but yeah, go ahead.
My dad was diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment, and the neurologist kind of chastised my mom. I'd like to know what your feelings are if she was aware of it, because she would help him, she would enable him, like he would ask what time it is or whatever,
don't want to add the stress to him getting frustrated.
He gets very frustrated.
You know, that's the start of not being able to make sense of what they have left. She's probably doing him a favor, but she needs to slow down and give him time to try to process it himself, and then help him when he can't. Okay? Let him have time to process it, but don't let him get to the point to where it's causing a behavior or a physical or psychological reaction. I think it's wonderful to have that kind of support system.
And on a merely unsolicited note, our parents does a phenomenal job. I did, I did several of your presentations and have learned so much. So get on the mailing list, they do great presentations, you'll learn a lot.
Well, thank you very much. This was my first public one, so.
You did great.